Good unspecified time period. My name is Richard with an R, and welcome to Richard and Karl with a K presents Deep Space and Dragons.
And I am Karl. I'm going to specify this is a medieval podcast because of the dragons.
I'll allow it. So,
I mean, space has always been there, so
it's true. It was like, it's always interesting to me because I was getting a monologue the other day about people sorting things into categories, right?
Okay,
And if you were to say that Star Wars is science fantasy, you'd be right, because there's just wizards shooting lightning.
right?
So if
Okay,
you were to tell me that Deep Space and Dragons is a medieval podcast, I immediately think of the spaceship that got shot down with a dragon with a mana cannon on its back, and I'm like, yeah, sure. Because, like, if a spaceship shows up in your fantasy series, provided you're mythical enough about it, you stay fantasy until you state otherwise.
mm.
Because, like, if we learned that Sauron and the One Ring came from space, it would be terrible. But it would still be fantasy.
But yeah, I mean, and even in the Star Wars lore, it's like they use kyber crystals that respond to emotions to power their technologically advanced lightsabers. So it's like there is technology, but it's kind of magical at the same time.
Yep, and also they don't know how long an hour is.
they do not.
Alright, so what's new with you?
Oh, okay. Um, First, a mini movie board game review.
Ooh,
Oh,
spicy. Wait, did you watch
yeah,
Clue?
yeah.
Because Clue is amazing.
No, no.
I guess that'd be a board
we,
game movie, not a movie board game.
we went to London Drugs, and
Not a
they had
sponsor.
they had the Titanic on. No, sorry, Titanic the board game on for $7.
I also would probably cave for that for sheer curiosity.
Yeah, $7 for Titanic the board game. Um, and yeah, so we purchased it because it was cheap, and we tried it out. It's kind of interesting. You're on the Titanic. You're in the room, in individual rooms, and the rooms will have like passengers, action cubes, lifesavers, a bunch of different stuff. And you go around and you're trying to take passengers and get them onto the lifeboats, which are on either side of the ship.
I really hope there's a game mechanic where you have to like try and get people to stop making out inside the parked car to save them.
Well, they not exactly. There are different like star cards that you can buy for locations, events, scenes, and locations, items, scenes, and there was one more I can't remember. But if you were to buy one of the scene cards, there's like the one of the scene cards was. It's worth 5 victory points, and you get bonus points if you sing the chorus to "My Heart Will Go On."
That's actually amazing. That was more fun than I was expecting this board game to be, I'm gonna be real.
But so then obviously you're trying to move people from pick up passengers, take them to the boats, and the board is divided into 4 columns with 4 rows.
Mm.
At the end of each turn, one of those columns will start to flood. And when a whole row is flooded, then the flood line rises up, and everything in that row is removed from the game, and all those passengers are dead and whatever. And so you have to try and save as many passengers as you can using the action cubes that you pick up from the board, and then get to the top of the ship to get onto your own lifeboat within 9 rounds. 9
Just
turns.
to give a meta comment here, because it's kind of really funny to me. So
Hmm.
pre-podcast, I was explaining the rules to Daggerheart to you, and I have this instinct right now to be like, do we really need to cover all the game mechanics? Like I didn't do that verbatim without the mic on less than a minute ago. Oh, but please continue. I just need to put out the irony between my internal monologue and reality.
um, and I mean, I would say overall it was pretty fun. There
I
does
mean,
seem to
to
be
be fair, for $7, it
Hmm?
has to be more fun than a 7-piece chicken nuggets at this point with inflation.
Yeah, it was more fun than 7 McNuggets.
No, don't sue us, McDonald's, but I also haven't done the budget on your nuggets. I also make your prices cheaper.
But yeah, definitely worth $7. I don't know what it would be worth full price, but it was fun enough, and there were enough different strategies to potentially win that me, my roommate, and my brother ended up within 1 point of each other. I ended up winning by 1 point, then the next person was 1 point down.
I assume by drawing nude sketches of all the other players for a star card.
No, see, my strategy was just to fill the lifeboats.
What, your plan was to responsibly exit the Titanic? Did you learn nothing from that movie?
My brother, he played Rose's fiance. I can't remember his name now, but he was kind of a douchebag. He was kind of a douchebag, and he like at the end of the movie, he like grabs the child, like, I have a child, let me on the boat, and it's just some other random person's child. Anyways, each player also gets a secret objective, and my brother's secret objective.
One of them is sink the Titanic.
No,
one of you blazes the iceberg.
My brother's secret objective was 1 victory point to a maximum of 10 for every passenger that is lost to sea.
So, yes, actually, he was on the side of the iceberg. That is correct.
Yeah, and so it's like there's red guys that are worth 3 points, gray guys that are worth 2 points, and green guys that are worth 1 point. And he literally did not save any green guys because they were worth just as many points on the boat as they were on the iceberg for him.
That feels charged racially.
In any event, mini review over 7 out of 10.
That's pretty good. Higher review than I give the movie. It just doesn't do it for me until the time travel aspect. Like, in a vacuum, no, but as part of the Cameron cinematic universe, check one of her early episodes for that journey.
Okay, but now, I don't know if I'm actually going to make this a regular segment or not, but ethical question time.
Oh, wow. You know what? That's a fantastic recurring segment. Last time I just roasted you for not, like, paying delivery drivers hourly wages. Let's see how far I could dig myself here. Because now it's on the can that Richard doesn't believe in tips.
Okay, well, so, I mean, firstly, I can't think of the best word to describe it, but I do feel a bit foolish for complaining about Red Cross not giving our delivery driver a tip. And then Saskatchewan going into a state of emergency, like, within a week after that.
I do it, to be fair, though. That let me roast you to my friends all week.
All right. But this is unrelated to the wildfires.
They're not caused by James Cameron. All right, good to know.
No. So, I've said before, I'm conflicted when like homeless people or just people in general, because you don't actually know what their situation is. Mm-hmm. When people come in and they ask for free food, and even if we have free food that's literally going in the garbage, we have to say no for health and safety reasons.
Sure.
Well, I mean, we don't have to say no, but there are a variety of reasons why we do say no, and they're mostly centered around the health and safety of our staff members, because we don't know these people's situation. And they're likely to come back and potentially be angry or violent if we say no the next time when we don't have. Anyway, it's more about the fact that I'm conflicted because I don't like the idea of wasting food and throwing it out, but I don't think that we should just give it away, because then they'll come back and it undermines our business, and it potentially puts our staff members at risk if they do get violent or angry. And we're not equipped to deal with mental health issues like that and stuff for homeless people in particular. But anyways,
so
there's also not really about. Sorry, go ahead.
Is that not your ethical question?
No. All
right, you'll get there. I believe.
There was more about the idea of being conflicted. Being like, I feel like morally it would be right to give the homeless people the food. But I act in a way that I don't give them food because of other concerns, which I don't know if it's fair to overbalance my other concerns over the needs of the people who are asking for free food. But we also don't know their situation. Like I just, anyways.
So I'm going to give such a weird tangent here.
Okay.
This will not help your ethical quandary in any way. And asking, like,
Okay.
hey, what are Richard's thoughts on ethical quandaries? Is like talking to Lucy in Disenchantment, who's like a literal demon that enables negativity. But,
Okay.
so, one of my brother's acquaintances, who probably doesn't listen to this podcast, but this would be a fun way of accidentally outing them to their family in a situation. So I'll try and be as vague as possible. Attempted to go to university. And their
Okay.
family said they cannot support them through university. They'll have to figure it out themselves. As you're well aware, for university funding, if you have rich parents, they expect your parents to help you, and it's almost impossible to secure funding unless you're far enough removed to be a separate, mature student.
Right.
I'm speaking with some confidence in this one. It might be different from region to region, school to school. But in my personal experience in like student working, it's not good to have a rich parent that doesn't help you as far as funding's concerned.
Right.
So they tell them they can't help, they can't help, they can't help. But their church sponsored somebody to go through university. So their parents were talking at a family dinner about how they sponsored this person to go to university, but not their son. Because they were sponsoring for the clout. So so magically, they're ethically like, let's sponsor this person to be charitable, but not actually sponsoring their family, because no one cares if you send your son to school, but people care if you send a stranger to school, and it makes you look good for your religious organization or non-religious.
Right, right.
So, to loop around a bit, say you have an employee fighting food insecurity, and you have somebody outside your business being like, hey, can you help me? Or let's go back to the delivery driver story last week.
Right.
So say this delivery driver is also food insecure, and you give the people who are in a wildfire a bigger discount than your food insecure employee. Are you a bad person? Was it performative charity? So kind of where I'm looping back around to this is that a lot of good things people do are partly good things and partly for clout. They'll send somebody to school for the clout, not to help out their actual close family members. So when it comes to something like a pizzeria, are they willing to give out free food? What I despise is a Tim Hortons. Yeah, I'm going to call you out directly. You're not a sponsor. Come at me, bro. Don't sue me. But seriously, we'll not, like, I remember being there when they rolled over the, hey, you cannot have end of day donuts. And they came up with fictional excuses like, what if we get sick from them? Which is funny because they're fresher than the ones that we do eat because we rotate at X number of hours and we baked them at 6 and it was 12, therefore. And then the joke being, it's like, Tim Hortons like, here's our charity, we donate to this, we do that. So they're willing to give strangers food by being like, look how much money we donate to the food bank, but won't let their staff eat the food. It has to go in the garbage. But when we go to like holistics about can we give food to people? For college clubs, like I said, this tangent's going all over the place.
Tangent is going all over the place.
For college clubs, you cannot bring in homemade food. It has to be prepackaged with a receipt. Because A, everyone who's seen a awkward teen comedy movie is like, what if it's pepperonis? Well, but really it's a liability thing, right? You want to make sure that if you sue somebody, you're suing Walmart, not a classmate who brought in tainted stroganoff, right?
Right.
So, especially with like COVID restrictions and things, it's like, yeah, if you're getting someone food, it's prepackaged, it's paid for from a third party, and there is some liability things. Right. I did a search earlier to see if like there is actual lawsuits of people be like, oh, I got fed day old pizza at the end of the day and won the lawsuit. That feels like corporate talk trying to be like, hey, because I remember Tim Hortons declaring, yeah, I'm going to call out Tim Hortons again, come at me, bro, that if we let staff members take home day old donuts, bakers will bake more donuts. Bakers don't make that choice. We're handed a spreadsheet that says how many donuts we make. And then when we run out, our manager yells, why didn't you make more? Screams, and we make more. So the concern is that if we give our staff, let them take end of day food, that'll result in staff making more food so they can take it. Doesn't actually work. but they're more concerned about hypothetical loss than people having good times. Kind of like how Tim Hortons uniforms don't have pockets in the pants because they're worried they'll steal. So sewing the pockets shut is clearly the solution, not paying them a living wage so they wouldn't be like the idea that someone would shove a half-eaten bagel in their pocket and your thought isn't maybe we should give them a free lunch because they're so hungry they will have sweetened sugar goop deconstruct in their pocket all day so they can chew on it is like, oh yeah, we need to make sure that they're not shoving donuts in their pockets. My thought is, why are they shoving donuts in their pockets? Just eat a donut. They're less than 13 cents to make.
To be clear, a part of my part of the reason I'm so conflicted is because if there is messed up food, the staff do just get to eat it. Like we and anyone, if there's messed up food at the end of the night, staff can just take it home. And if they're off the clock, they took the food home. I mean, they can give it to a homeless person if they want. It's their food now that they've left the store. But the store itself, we don't really want people coming in and asking for free food.
Oh, exactly. And like also humanity makes me lose faith in them. So as much as I'd love to be like, yes, you should feed them. Remember Bear Guy? Who would ask for day-old donuts to use in like bear photography?
Mm.
This was like back at Redacted Donuts. We worked together when Bear Guy was a thing so long ago.
Right.
And then we stopped giving Bear Guy free donuts because he just left them there and they made a mess. So we stopped getting free stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, I do think you can help out more people sometimes by being more strategic and ethical. Handing random people slices of pizza, I see the ethics, right? If you're giving it to your staff to give to their families, you're already winning in my book. But for people with dependency and things, I would much rather you like sell the pizza at a discount at the end of the night to customers and donate that to the food bank would actually help more people than just giving them the pizza, ironically. So it's like, it's a weird societal thing, though, because I remember as a kid going to restaurants at the end of night, be like, oh, can I have some stuff as a customer? And they'd be like, yeah, sure, or give me a huge discount. Mall Sushi Guy was really good for that, because I'd go get end of the day sushi. But I do think, like, free versus discount, I would be more likely, personally, to give discounts to people at the end of the day. And in an ideal world, use the funds to, like, donate to charity on a larger scale. It's kind of like your pizza place being profitable is what lets you give a large discount to 60 pizzas and help out more people. Whereas, like, if people just swarm your pizzeria at the end of the night and no one goes in because they're worried they'll be shivved.
Right.
So there's, like, that idealism versus reality thing. I know the neighborhood you're in. I know, like, I remember one time specifically that I once helped out a person that lurked in the mini mall when I worked at Redacted Restaurant in Saskatchewan. And they kept trying to solicit. I had broken my thumb. I shoved it into a drawer. The thumbnail turned black and falled off. I was in possibly the most pain I've ever been in, actually. Turns out, slamming your thumb in a cast iron drawer is just really, really rough. Right. And she's in front of the car knocking on the window, and I need to go to the hospital, and she wouldn't move out of the way. And the thing is, had I never helped this human being, I wouldn't have spent 20 minutes in immense physical pain dying, because their priorities were higher. Their survival, naturally, was a higher priority to them than my survival was to them.
Right.
Because Maslow's hierarchy of needs is real. When people are hungry, cold, and starving, they're not really concerned about social etiquette. So, like, I see scam ads for this app. I really do like the idea of a discount app that's like, hey, it's end of day, here's what we got left over, come in for 50% off or 60% off. But I think by making it a transaction, even if it's a small fee, it's like, oh, this is going to sound so mean and get me canceled on the internet. But I do believe that if you spent all day panhandling, you should have to pay $3 for your pizza. Like, the number of people who are, like, outside the liquor store asking for money to go and buy liquor, I can't afford liquor. Like, I haven't had a drink since I went to that gala of free drinks because I don't have the budget for it. Times are tough. Unemployment is, like, brutal right now. The job market is terrible. And I'm like, yeah, giving people a discount is good, but when you make it free, and I've noticed this for a lot of things, especially to go into, like, this tangent's almost done, to go into literary world and novels, a free ebook is considered garbage. If I put my ebook out for free, people assume it's bad.
Right.
If I put it for 99 cents, people assume it's bad. If I put it for $4.99, people assume it's good. Because why is it $1?
Right.
That's just me making more money. The quality of the book doesn't increase with the pricing. But people see a premium product and they think it's better. But it's also like, if something's free, people will accept it and throw it on the ground and trash it, right? Like,
right.
as someone who's worked at so many open houses and booths, I was running the D&D club booth, and people were like, oh, can I have this? And like going for D&D props. You're a business major. You do not need a Mimic chess figurine. You will never need it. And you're physically trying to take it from me after I said no, because it's on this table. Or like, I'll hand out character sheets, and people are like, yeah, I'll take one. And there's just a pile of them around the trash can. So like the very act that you attribute some value to something, even if you take a loss, means people then attribute a value back. So
right.
if you literally had a sign that was up that was like, end of day, mystery pizza, whatever's left, $1 a slice, I think that would solve your problem ethically, because it's like, yes, they should have $1. And if they really don't, you can be like, here, I'll give you $1 to buy $1 slice of pizza. But now they have to at least be a customer. And there's a certain level of like composure people have when they enter a restaurant.
That is generally true, yes. But my ethical question, actually, like I say, it's not about homeless people, but it is in a similar vein. We have this elderly customer. Like, I've been told she's elderly. I haven't actually had any in-person interactions with this person, just occasionally on the phone. They live reasonably far away from our store. So, like our drivers, they'll drive wherever they need to go, because they go where the money is. But the further away it is, obviously they're not happy if they don't get a tip or if there's something wrong with the order or whatever. And this particular customer, over the past couple months, she has either lost or forgotten her lost her debit card or forgotten her PIN, and been unable to pay for her food.
That's an interesting argument, but sure.
Well, to the point where everyone suspects that maybe she has some form of like dementia or something like that.
Or she's just lying to kick it.
I mean, maybe when she can't pay for her food, we can't just give it to the person because they can't pay for the food. We don't really know anything about their life situation. They could just be trying to scam us. And like it undermines our business to just give away free food in that way, specifically to like an individual like that. Like if you give away free food as a giant donation, you're actually making a statement about your business. But if you're just giving it away to an individual because they couldn't pay for their food, that's just teaching them to not pay for their food.
Well, it's like capitalism's weird, because I personally believe in things like universal basic income, assisting people. The fact that we're in this weird dystopia where people are like, AI's going to take all the jobs, but no one's willing to accept that then the government needs to pay people basic income by siphoning off the top 1%, because if there's no jobs, people will just die, and then they'll revolt, and then they'll literally drag oligarchs to the ground and execute them via guillotine, French Revolution style. So it's like, I agree these are large societal problems, but I hate Band-Aid solutions. Like, I was publicly super against Le Prime Minister being like, hey, everybody, have a 1% sales tax reduction on valuable items for 3 months. That's not a solution. Hey, have a slice of pizza isn't a solution, right?
Right.
What is a solution is, hey, we're going to donate monthly to the food bank, or like a Smile cookie thing, like get a slice of Smile pizza, all profits go to the food bank, is an actual solution, because they're better equipped to handle it. Much like, hey, all proceeds go towards Employment Canada. We're better prepared to handle it. So my ethics are weird. Like, I agree, no, food should be a right. Healthcare should be a right. Housing should be a right. Airbnb should have been illegal yesterday because they never passed an inspection. But when it comes to, like, the idea of, like, am I a bad person for not giving people money? I've been a broke student for 4 years. You know what I literally said to someone handling me on the bus at 8 in the morning? You have more money than me because I'm at negative $40,000. You're harassing people who can't afford transport because they're more likely to be empathetic than people at car lots. No one on redacted transit at 6 a.m. is financially well off, because you just wouldn't be. You're either a student or an employee at a soul-crushing job. Because if you were well off, you would have a car because you're getting up at 6 in the morning to ride a bus for an
Okay.
hour to be panhandled at by this guy. So I said that to their face verbatim.
The ethical question isn't actually about whether or not we give the lady the food. The ethical question, and maybe it's not even the right word, but firstly, do you know if there is any particular service that you would call to do a welfare check on the elderly? And since I don't know anything about this person's situation aside from what I've just described, she appears to have memory problems and is frequently unable to pay for her food. Do you think that would warrant enough concern from me as, I'm going to say, a proprietor of a business to call a welfare check on this customer?
That is a good question. So the beauty of being a student employee is I have the out of my pay grade defense, and I've used it 3 or 4 times where it's like, I say that sassily, but it really is. This question is out of the scope of what I can handle as a student employee. I will put you in touch with counseling. So in a school, my solution's really easy, right? Like if I worked at the school cafeteria and this happened repeatedly, I would send them to student services. And I would walk them to the health and wellness center. Like I've literally walked a student's like, I have this happening in my life. I'm like, that sounds like a suicide risk. Come with me. Hey, front desk, I know you have a line, but can you like get someone here now, please? That'd be great. Because I don't want to cause death, so I will let trained professionals do this.
Right.
So logistically, what you're talking about is similar to how I would handle it of call somebody when I hit a certain point. But you don't have that convenient connection, so this will be some research on your part. Because I would absolutely, in a school setting where everyone's insured for one thing, and covered, so I wouldn't put them into crippling bankruptcy by doing this to them. I would absolutely call somebody to get them help. So that's my ethics is, I would absolutely look up who I call the person first independently, like, oh, I just have some information. What should I do in this situation? Right? Like, literally just call, like, a university's elder research center, for example. Be like, all right, U of S Elder Care Center. Hi, I have this person that's coming in like this. Who should I contact? I love me universities and I love me libraries. You know how happy some random grad student will be to get a phone call where someone in real life is asking them for their expertise on a topic? Because, it's fair to not know, but I think that would be my play is I would Google Elder Care Specialist Saskatchewan, call them and be like, hi, I have this problem. What do you suggest I do? Because I am like, I avoid trying to call the cops on people if I can help it.
Right.
One time, after an internet argument, someone called the cops thinking I was a suicide risk. And they showed up my door to make sure I was still alive. And that was a very positive interaction. That went great for me, because I know that if I was a suicide risk, someone in the internet made sure I didn't die. I wasn't. I'm just a drama queen it was on a D&D forum, and I was using metaphor. What? The point is that calling proper authorities would be my play, which is ironic with all the things I've said to anti-authority and government and things over the years. But there is actually trained, passionate professionals whose job it is to deal with this. And the best way to find them is to ask the professional whose job it is to find them.
Fair enough.
I hope I answered your ethical quandary. And give your staff free meals. Just everyone in this universe. If you run a profitable food service job and you're not giving your staff free meals, that's bad, right? That's just bad.
I definitely agree that if your business is profitable, and I mean, obviously you need proper management that's making sure that the system isn't being abused. But within reason, you can give your staff a free meal, and it's just the same as if a burger got wasted.
And it's also worth putting this out there, too, just for some basic math for people. So we don't pay people for their lunch break. It's their own time. They can do whatever they want. That North America's just decided this because we're bad people. Including universities.
Right.
But we also kind of acknowledge that most people on break, no boss has ever been so pure-hearted that if they get slammed by a unexpected rush, they don't ask the person to help. Nor is it really practical for them to go home or live their life in any meaningful comfort. So we're giving them a break
Mhm.
almost entirely because doctors around the world have agreed that you need to let people stop moving once in a while so then they can do more hard work for you. The
Right?
staff meal is almost always going to be cheaper than if you just paid them for that break hour.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're not going to pay them to rest, and you're going to do that thing where it's like your shift starts at this, so you have to be pre-changed, we're not going to pay you for that, just at least give them a sandwich, guys. Like, come on. Give them the thing that costs you, like, maybe $3 to make it so that way they don't spend their day hungry. It's not unreasonable.
So TLDR, you think that the situation I described would at least warrant doing some research and calling to see if someone else thinks someone more qualified thinks it's a risk or a
Absolutely.
concern.
If I was in this situation, I would call counseling and be like, hi, the same person has come up 5 or 6 times and seems to be forgetting their PIN number and their card. Who should I talk to about this?
Hmm.
Because,
Makes
like, I'm
sense.
such a torn person because, like, I study, like, ethics, humanity, and goodness, and am, like,
Mhm.
immersed in positivity. But I also worked in a movie theater. So it's like, I'm also not above calling security and having someone dragged out because they screamed at me that I didn't accept their gross popcorn bag because they were told free refills a decade ago and they keep using the same bag. So it's like, I want the world to be a better place, but I also want, like, professionals to do it. One of the biggest things I learned in my degree is there's people who are trained in things. Let them figure these problems out.
Okay, I do have a small side tangent.
Nice.
Someone comes in today, and they have a stack. I'm gonna say it was at least 20 little coupon cards that say one free small pizza, expires whatever date, 2019.
Heh.
And so he comes in and he's like, hey, can I use this stack of free small pizzas? And
And you're like,
we're
haha,
like,
no.
no, they're expired. And he's like, it's illegal for there to be an expiry date on these,
And you're like,
so you should let me use them.
and then he responded with, cool, I'll call the cops and we can have them figure it out. That works every time, by the way. I was so jaded by the end of my kitchen tour. That wasn't a hypothetical.
Well, okay, so apparently it is illegal for gift cards because they're purchased and have a monetary value
Yep.
to have expiry dates, which makes sense because you gave someone money, your money should never expire.
Yeah.
But these free small pizza coupons, we give them out for free, so they're not part of this law that prevents you
Yeah,
from
it's like
having
when I
expiry dates on them.
hyperinflated Richard points and they lost all value.
Yeah. I just thought that was funny because it's like if if they expired in 2019, that means that they got them in 2018, which means that they've had these things for like 8 years, and they just like found them in a drawer somewhere and came in and tried to claim them and tried to strong arm us into giving away this free pizza. And then after leaving, like, well, I was just going to give them to charity. It's like,
No, you weren't. If you'd opened with that, this would have been a very different conversation.
it would have. If they had opened with that, I might have been like, well, we could, if you give us those coupons, we could give some to charity. But like,
I think I spent too
no.
long in an academic safe space where I can speak my mind because I'm like, oh yeah, how I would have handled that. Ooh, let's role play the interaction. You be the customer, I be emotionally dead inside, but in a good mood, Richard. Welcome to Redacted Pizza. What's up?
I have these free small pizza coupons. I'm hoping I could redeem them.
Oh, let me take a look at these things. Why do you have a stack of them?
I was actually wondering the same thing.
I would like to know
It makes it
legitimately
like-
why you have a stack of these, because these were one per person when we gave them out. Did you mug people for them?
It did kind of. I kind of suspected that maybe he just like found a stack of them in the garbage. And
Right?
was
Like,
trying
were
to
you
redeem
dumpster
them.
diving behind? I would have said that. I was like, were you dumpster diving behind TJ's Pizza looking for coupons? Like, dude, there's better ways to make money. Go to Service Saskatchewan and go into their job placement program, and you can pick up cans, and they'll pay you for that. And then you can buy your pizza with money. The thing we use.
Anyways, I don't know if we're going to get into our topic proper because we still have to find out what's new with Richard.
Oh yeah. So like I could either give a super condensed one or like a full lengthy, super detailed monologue. So it's probably gonna be like a 3 minute "What's new with Richard."
Okay, okay, okay,
So I graduated yesterday and finally went to my ceremony.
okay.
So here's some things about graduation that I expected and didn't expect. So I'm just gonna mostly give graduation fun facts and a quick montage of what happens.
All right.
So first off, I finished classes like a month ago, and I'm like,
Mm,
graduation, I don't care. And then my beloved friends and family are like, you don't have a choice. I'm like, but it sounds like work. I already have a
mm,
book deal. Why would I go to grad from book school?
right.
So I give them my grad was two events. There was an anthology watch because our writing students and our publishing students as their capstone publish an anthology. That just makes
Okay.
sense, right? The publishers
Does
do the
make
book
sense.
design, editing, the writers write the short stories. It's a very nice anthology. They did good.
Mm,
They gave us swag bags, copies of anthology, bookmarks, pins. Like,
mm.
it was overall not as good as last year's because they had a full documentary they made and scored, but it was pretty good.
Uh,
My year did pretty
yeah, okay,
good.
okay.
Oh man, any of
All
my
right, all right.
classmates that listen to my podcast like we did. Wow, rude. Way to say our year was less good than the previous year. I mean, it was, but rude of me to say, right? I should say my year's the best year. I'm in it, but last year was really good. I volunteered at the event last year for context, so they did really good. I would say second or third best one, not bad.
Okay, okay.
So we go to this thing, and I accidentally gave the wrong time to all my loved ones. So like the day
Uh-oh.
before, I'm like, so when I said start at 3, I meant to say it ended at 3. It starts at 1. So my various
Ah,
loved ones are like, well, I can't get there till like 1:30. I'm like, that's fine. It's just people talking.
mm,
So my campus didn't hold it in like a hall. They kind of had like the lobby has like an event space in it, but it's also like the
okay,
lobby. So they like put up like
okay.
some partitions, but any human being can just walk through there if they want.
Right.
Which means I don't care if my friends and family come late. I'll sit in the back row. Any human being can just walk through there if they want.
Right.
So I'm listening. They all show up. They sit down. We do this grad yearbook thing where we all sign each other's anthologies because duh. But also,
Mm,
one of my classmates made up CWP shirts for my program, and everyone was going around signing the back of these shirts, which is kind of cool.
okay.
And then teachers give their speeches. One of my professors gave a metaphor for my program being canceled, where like he talked about how tragic it was about this art summer camp he really loved being canceled, and like it was beautiful because it was just how close can he get without losing his job, calling them out on this decision.
But your program, this is the last year for your program?
It's suspended right now. They might resume it. So, like, everyone who's currently enrolled gets to graduate years 1 through 4, and then the program theoretically is being shut down
Huh.
because 60% of university college funding got lost from international student. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is a whole episode for me to explain what happened to
I,
my
I,
school.
I have some context there.
Yeah,
The
but
ripple
like to catch
effects
everyone up
are
to speed,
wide.
just Google Ontario colleges and then complain to your MP that we're losing our colleges while all jobs are shifting to skill based.
Mm.
Let's not train any writers in an era where content creation makes up like 30% of the GDP. Sure. Anywho,
Anyways,
so
so
we
you
go
gave
through
this
this
not
launch
so
party.
vague metaphor.
Yeah, so we go through this launch party, which had cheese cubes and things, and then there's actual grad, right? The
Mm.
worst part. So we do a break between the two. I cry tears because my family made like my friends made a lovely card that have so they went out of their way to have everyone sign it with how would I have them in my phone because I have people in the phone by like a mix of like D&D characters and code names and other things.
Right,
So
right.
it's like the super personalized card. I say thank you to one of my friends who's like, there's no evidence I said something nice. It was a forgery. I'm like, yeah, but you baked me cupcakes and the cupcakes don't lie.
Okay.
I do enjoy it. It's like anything nice in that card is slander. I didn't consent. Their message in the card was just grats, but there was homemade cupcakes involved, so I'm not falling for that. So we basically spend the time between these two events in traffic because we went back to drop off the cupcakes to refrigerate them because they're good quality cupcakes.
Mm-hmm.
Get the gift thing and then go to this grad hall. So
Mm.
you would think they'd line us up alphabetically, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would think that. So we go in and scan a QR code on our phone, get our gowns. We have this like
Yeah.
we have to wear a hood thing because so we have our gown and we have this hood thing because it's a bachelor's degree. Because much like
Okay.
cutlery, academia has their secret language designed to make fun of poor people based on their like your stripes and ribbons and other things.
Yeah.
So due to sexism, these like hood things were designed under the assumption you have a dress shirt underneath.
Okay.
But no one ever tells you that. So 90% of people are like trying to wrap this tie for this hood to the zipper of their robe because they have zippers. And then I'm like to everyone like, oh, these are literally designed that you just attach them to the second button on your dress shirt underneath because sexism. Why would they update these for the idea? Although to be fair, anyone can wear a dress shirt. Technically, if everyone was required to wear a dress shirt and dress pants, it wouldn't be sexism.
Anyway.
Anywho, long story short, these were designed under the assumption you'd be wearing this. So after teaching a few people how to assemble this thing and going for photos, it became apparent the mistake I had made. So I stood at the front of the line so everyone knew where to stand, right?
Mm.
Instead of being alphabetized, they scan the QR code to let them know what name to read, and you just go in the order you happen to have been standing in.
Oh.
So I went first.
Okay.
Question, what don't I have?
I mean, lots of things.
What is one of my like top 3 things I'm bad at?
I mean, I'm drawing a blank at the top of my head. I mean, there's physically writing. You're pretty bad at that.
That's one. I'll just spoiler it. You would have got it pretty quick. I have no sense of direction.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
That would be in the top 3. It's like, can't write, get queasy when I listen to medical things, have no sense of direction whatsoever.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going first. I'm like, oh no, I don't have someone to follow off the stage. I need to know what I'm doing. So I go out and I shake the president of the college's hand.
Mm-hmm.
So with the back sense that my program's been canceled, my Sheridan's been crap. I did okay, fine. My college, which I just name dropped, sue me. Anyone who Googles me can figure this out because it's all of my posts right now. Has been a largely positive experience. But whenever something negative happens, I speak out about it because of who I am as a person.
Right.
So I am with the president of the school in front of me, who I've sent sassy emails to probably on 3 occasions over the course of my time there.
Mm-hmm.
One of which resulted directly in me meeting with like a really high-ranked person and getting one of my best jobs I had there. So, emails work.
Right.
I shake their hand and my brain is entirely, okay, which directions do I go? They say, congratulations, you worked hard to get here. I said, in my fugue state, I know. Paused for a full beat, and then went, thank you. So they said, you worked hard, and I'm like, I know. And I'm like, oh no. I Han Solo'd them. That was not my intent. Then I speed walk off the stage because I need to flee now. Managed to navigate successfully back to the stage and sit down. And then as I'm 90% of the way back, I see my loved ones with a camera and it's pause for a second to photo, they mouth at me. So I smile and then proceed to continue running back to speed walking back to my seat. And as a result, there's the only photo in existence where I smiled showing my teeth because I don't like my teeth. For viewers who are picturing me, picture that I have a singular vampire fang that's a row above the rest of my teeth. That's just the thing. Karl can vouch on that one.
Yeah.
So it's there's this one photo that's ever existed of me showing a toothy smile because my entire mental bandwidth was drained from this experience because I only pretend to be an extrovert. So I basically had to play a character for 12 hours straight. As my loved ones had to sit there and I'm why does anyone go to these things? If it wasn't for my loved ones, this would have been a terrible experience because it was mostly standing. However, because I was fully supported and people did nice, kind, emotional things to devastate me and make me cry not manly tears, it was absolutely a worthwhile once-in-a-lifetime experience. And when I graduate again next year, I ain't doing it. Because it's I could have went when I did my 1-year program to get into my 4-year. I'm nah, I'll do it at the end of the 4-year. And then I got kind of committed to it. So I spent today mostly recovering from my celebration. So that's what's new with me. As I learned that we use QR codes now to figure out who walks across stages.
Yeah, that is a little bit bizarre. I would have thought that would just be like a check-in thing, and then they, call the people alphabetically or something. But
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going first. And one of my friends like, do you want to switch? I'm like, oh, well, I volunteered to go first for literally everything for 4 years. It seems weirdly appropriate. I'll just commit to it at this stage. So yeah, that's what's new with me.
Hmm.
As I give mixed advice about, it's like, don't feed people from your private food stores. Make sure everyone has access to food stores.
Yeah.
All right, so to move into our feature topic, which I don't actually remember exactly, I'm going to start by complaining about World Trigger, but not really.
Okay.
So when we did our last Show and Jump roundout, I'm like, okay, if World Trigger lasts for as long as One Piece, it can get away with this plot arc.
Mm-hmm.
So the second most recent chapter is like, all right, final day. Note, you guys will only get the food you can manage to pack for your adventure. And then a character sends out like a really sad voicemail, be like, we don't have food. Can you all donate food to us, please? I owe you and I love you guys. I'm like, that was actually a really entertaining chapter. Because I'm like, oh, you took a break from the bureaucracy to just, that's a good bit. The person like sending like the most formal note they can go, like, greeting and salutations, my friends. We don't have any food because we suck. I will treat you all to meals after this, I swear. Lucky winners in a draw will receive. So I'm like, that was actually a legitimately good chapter because you stopped from the meta commentary for 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And the next chapter is like, all right, now we're going to give everyone their captain review. And I'm like, oh my lord, please get to the plot. Like, after this, there'll be a death battle. You're going to fight the A ranks in an awesome death battle where everyone who's in these tests are going to have this awesome death battle. So go through your squad and give everyone a point score. I'm like, just please end this arc. And like, I haven't been counting the chapter count. Like, I don't know if the bottle test was longer than the invasion. I legitimately don't because of the release schedule.
Right.
And it could definitely come back from this if people start throwing bricks at each other again.
Mm.
Like, if this is just an awesome epic battle that's as long... If Phase 2 is as long as Phase 1 and it's just an epic battle, I'm good.
Right.
But they're literally grading homework.
Okay, so my topic idea was, the way I worded it is, conceptually interesting ideas that give anime a bad name in execution.
So my first pitch to this topic is World Trigger, bureaucracy, like World Trigger being like, yeah, we're going to do a really bureaucratic system. Sounds great in practice. And one of the things that failed in execution is they gave every character so many names and had them all look the same, and it's just like, no one remembers anyone in World Trigger. So it's like that idea of like them taking their border defense agency seriously. Good idea. World Trigger is entirely good idea, bad execution right now. Because they're like, our action series is people sitting in a room not being animated. It's almost the opposite problem to the things you're going to go to.
Well, I mean, if you even knew what I was going to talk about.
I don't. I assume you're just going to complain about the ending of Kaido.
Kaido was actually one of three specific things that I wanted to mention. Because Kaido, the right answer. I started watching it, and before I managed to get to the end of it, I recommended it to you because it was awesome. It was about a negotiator who has to negotiate with a higher level being. And it's like, how do you negotiate with someone who's smarter than you?
It's pretty great.
It was like super awesome and so much fun to watch. And then they bungled the ending because
they weren't smarter enough to be smart enough.
Yeah. And it was just such a letdown. Like, that's kind of a fringe case of what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about like.
Oh, are we gonna go Kenichi and the sexual harassment?
Kenichi wasn't specifically on my list. I was gonna segue into martial arts as a superpower in general, and I was actually gonna go with a non-anime example of Marvel's Iron Fist.
Okay.
Because Iron Fist just sounds so cool. You punch the heart out of a dragon and get the power of the Iron Fist, and then protect Kunlun. Like it sounds like such a cool idea, but then Danny Rand was just such a little bitch, for the lack of a better term. Like,
Nice.
uh,
Like, did you
it
recently
was
go through the Iron Fist series or what? Or you're just like one night in 3 in the morning, you're like, why is Iron Fist lame? I almost want to blame whitewashing, but that's just a different problem, endemic of the era.
well, no, I mean,
Danny
I was
Rand's story should not have been told for a white guy's point of view. Like, that's just so many. The white savior tropes are so toxic. Like, it's the classic Dune problem of like, oh yeah, the white savior came to help the desert people. It's like, stop. Just stop
but
Lawrencing of Arabiaing this.
in having a cool idea that had poor execution, it kind of taints all of like any animated series that have Iron Fist in them have now kind of been tainted by the terrible execution of Marvel's Iron Fist on Netflix.
I'll allow it. Yeah.
So like, yeah, and this happens a lot with martial arts as a superpower in general, where like history's strongest disciple Kenichi, they're using their fists, their legs, they're punching and whatever. Why do the clothes explode?
So that was such a roundabout to get to the trope. Why do clothes explode in anime?
Well,
I mean, we know the actual answer, right? And it's because sex sells, and by putting exploding clothes on the cover, teenager boys will buy it. That's why. There's no deeper meaning to this. But like,
that gives the anime a bad name. Like that's like exactly the thing. That's like, I don't watch anime because it's too hypersexualized. And then you're watching a genuinely interesting, well choreographed, well thought show, and they're just like, yeah, and we just need to throw in some fan service because otherwise it won't sell on the quality of our writing.
Fire Force and Soul Eater were really bad offenders for that, where you're like, this doesn't fit the vibe at all of what's going on here. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I mean, at least Fairy Tail was gender neutral with the clothes exploding.
So Fairy Tail. So the reason I give Fairy Tail and Chainsaw Man a pass in this category. So Fairy Tail is everyone is in a completely impossible body shape, and their clothes explode. However, the characters in Fairy Tail are aware of this, and they're literally stripping to sell magazines and calendars to fund their guild hall, right? And stay with me here. This is the most important plot point of Fairy Tail. Everyone in Fairy Tail is over the age of consent. Everyone in Fairy Tail is an adult. Because that's anime's worst trope by far, is they do this to minors, which is just a crime.
Well, see,
I always say anime was so much better if you age every character by 5 years. It just makes every character make more sense structurally and narratively every time. There isn't a single example where the story is not better if you age everyone by 5 years.
But that segues perfectly actually into the actual series that got me thinking about this. A little while ago, we did an episode about school teachers in anime and how few genuine school teachers there are, even though there's so many high school settings.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know why, but I really got into the Irregular at the Magic Academy.
You're not the only one. It was a better Tuaru no Index.
And I watched all 3 seasons. I skipped the mini movie where his sister assumedly gets shot and they has to be resurrected using the resurrection gun.
God, I hate the resurrection. You know, the thing is, I wouldn't hate the resurrection gun if it was a healing bullet gun. So if you shot someone with a healing bullet, I'd be on board. But the gun part doesn't even go pew. It's just, it's too OP, man.
But so season 1 has a lot of like incest jokes, the sister brother complex, whatever. But it kind of shifts away to that as it focuses more on the main character's struggle between his responsibility with his great powers and
lack of an
what he actually wants to accomplish.
Yeah.
right. But there's a spin-off show, and it's called the Honor at the Magic Academy.
I don't think I've seen that.
Don't. Don't. Oh,
You sounded like me for a second. That's a problem. This broke you.
It is season 1 of the Irregular of the Magic Academy, except it's told from um, like the sister's point of view and her friends.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, all of the incest quote unquote jokes. Like, I mean, I guess there's no actual incest because all of the anime is hypersexualized but weirdly chaste, as you like to
I
say.
have a fun monologue about that, but I'll let you finish where you're going with this first.
Uh, but yeah, she overtly has sexual feelings for him, and oftentimes he doesn't see the fashion show that she puts on, but she'll like strip down to her underwear to put on a fashion show to decide what she's going to wear for her brother.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I watched it all because of the sunken cost fallacy.
Oh,
But
man. The things I've
it
watched because
actually
of sunk cost fallacy.
it genuinely made me uncomfortable. And then as she gets her high school friends on board, it's like it's just a bunch of high school girls like fangirling over the gariest Gary stew that's ever stewed.
So, to pivot a bit, and we'll probably do a full episode on this later because Crunchyroll had their Anime of the Year awards.
Okay.
So, Solo Leveling won Anime of the Year.
Mm.
That's reasonable, right?
Yeah, I would say that it was definitely a really solid season 2. I don't foresee good things for season 3, but I'll watch it anyways.
For the record, though, did it deserve to beat Delicious in Dungeon and Frieren? Probably not, but I can see why, right?
Mm. Mm.
Here's where I have a problem. Jin Woo won Character of the Year. Delicious in the Dungeon and Frieren came out this year. Will I accept that Solo Leveling is a better series than Frieren? I can see why people would think that, right?
Mm.
Jin Woo is also a bland character that sister's trying to sleep with him who has no characteristics whatsoever. He is the ultimate self-insert. Bella from Twilight has more personality than Jin Woo. He's
Yeah.
just the least insufferable Ikasai busted character. Because most of them just turn into like creepy perverts instantly, and he didn't.
Right.
So he's bland, but he's bland and inoffensive.
Right.
But to say that Frieren is a less interesting character is just insane to me, right? It's like the character whose the entire anime of Frieren is them processing emotional attachment, and I'm like, to not give it to a character, to give character to Jinwoo just shows these awards are rigged. But like to go into the tropes a bit, Solo Leveling has all of those tropes, just all of them.
It makes me sad. It's like they're like I say. I really like the regular Magic Academy. I think that the mixture of magic and technology is a really cool conceptual idea, and they have all sorts of interesting sports and events designed around this concept. And then his sister just cheats and invents flying magic, but everyone's okay with it because everyone can use it. Anyways, but so it's like it's a really gripping conceptual idea, and then it's just loaded with so much smut and fan service and like I say, like the main character, he can't do anything wrong. Everything like he's the best engineer, so he like tunes up their casting assist devices, so that everybody that he works with ends up winning their thing, and so then they're like, oh yeah, we need to like do something special for him, and it's like
the special thing you could do for him is let him sleep for 8 hours for the first time in his life.
There is one consistent male character in the honor at the Magic Academy.
Yeah.
And yet, I don't think it passes the Bechdel test.
That is hilarious. So, to kind of pivot off that a bit, so I'm a big fan of the series Kaguya-sama Love is War, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that series was an anime romance that skirted along tropes, but like mostly used them for their advantage. So here's one thing it did that is insane. Absolutely insane. Spoiler warning. Like, I'm literally going to spoiler tag this. So this has never happened in a single rom-com I've ever read in a manga, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not a single time. The male character and the female character who are having their game of wits to see who could confess first, right? actually have sex. And it shows a panel of them going to the bed together and waking up next to each other. The internet lost their minds. Because the idea that one of these shonen-style rom-coms could have two characters in high school get physically intimate with each other is so beyond the concept of imagination that, like, Luffy getting Gear 5, Ichigo being a Quincy, Saitama punching a man to Jupiter, the Attack on Titan being a time travel looping story. None of those had the same shock value of this very obvious outcome to this story in any other form of media. Like, the only logical outcome in any other form of media of two people with consistent chemistry trying to get the other to fall for them for a year straight is them actually hooking up before graduation. It's just an insane concept. Like, could you imagine in Naruto if Naruto and Hinata actually had, like, two panels next to each other, and then they woke up it blew people's mind in Fairy Tail when people looked at, like, the night before the final battle, and Levi's background and Gajiel's background had the same wallpaper. People were like, oh, it's the same wallpaper. Maybe these two characters that have been dating for a year hooked up in this show. Which they did, by the way. Spoiler alert. He actually managed to, like, Gajiel has a kid on the way in Fairy Tail. But, like, it's just such a wild inversion of the trope is having a character in Tuaru whose ability is my left hand blew up a character's clothes in chapter 1 is completely socially acceptable in this genre. Like, them planning elaborate excuses to strip in front of their brother is completely socially the norm in this genre. But if her brother were to, like, that one professor that clearly has a thing for him that's, like, the same age, if they were to go on an actual date and have a one-night stand, people would not be able to comprehend what just happened. If this completely eligible this eligible man actually went on a real date, no one would actually be able, their brain couldn't comprehend it. Like, if Jin Woo actually, like, kissed one of his love interests, they went back to his apartment, the internet collectively would not be able to handle that, which is so wild to me.
Well, yeah, and then, like I say, like, a lot of these really interesting ideas just have, well, I mean, the biggest offender is the fan service with, like, the clothes exploding.
Like, let's go Dan to Dan. That's another huge offender.
Mm.
But Dan to Dan's trying to, like, I don't know, man. Dan to Dan's almost at Chainsaw Man's level if they're trying to do something with it. Like, what was it, like, right near the start of Dan to Dan, they end up, like, losing their outfits to the Loch Ness Monster. And one of the plot points is he had his family jewels stolen by a witch. But, like, I don't know if they're doing something with it. Like, they're not Chainsaw Man of, oh, this is actually, like, key character development and plot and about someone's coming-of-age story. Dan to Dan, I'm not sure. I'm on the fence. But it's not like that one Bodyguard show, Blue whatever, where I'm like, yeah, I have to drop this now. It hit the line, it crossed it, and I'm done. Done here. I don't want the FBI at my house. Anime is dead. Anime was a mistake. Like, another example, weirdly, of the inverse is, like, in Neon Genesis Evangelion, any fan service moments were, like, framed and scored to be super uncomfortable deliberately, because the show was, let's see how much we can torture Shinji. So it's like, oh yeah, in that series, a character being half naked sleeping next to him is torture for him, like actual torture, and then he ends up choking her to death later. Because that show is, because it's like this person's actively harassing you, belittling you, and bullying you, and you have no self-esteem. So they're just gonna, like, make your life miserable because you're looking at them. Is, like, part of, like, the depression metaphor they were going for in that show. Where it's like, oh, sex is everywhere, but no one cares about you, and you're gonna die alone.
Sheesh.
Oh yeah, Neon Genesis Evangelion. There's a reason it's iconic, and I don't think it's because it makes you feel good things. But they did stick the landing after doing several reboot movies, which is commendable.
Okay, so, I mean, for this category of good ideas that were poorly executed, I put in Kaido the right answer because it was a great idea that just, they completely failed to stick the landing.
Oh yeah. And Kenichi comes up where it's like, the concept of Kenichi, if you took the perversion out of it, would just be good. And if you took the sexism out of it, because I remember I was working on a short story inspired by it a while back where I'm like, the most baffling decision in Kenichi is a badass fighter Mew training to get Kenichi at the level for them to team up and fight somebody. It's just like a much better concept than what it ended up being. We're like, no, she wants to be a housewife. I'm like, fuck off with that. Fuck right off with that. Yeah, I'm gonna use 2 F-bombs here, where it's like, okay, why? This makes no narrative sense for some of these choices you've made. And a lot of these people should And did you really have to have a pervert as one of your 5 people who should be in jail? Like, just straight up, just directly to jail, do not pass go. So it's like, I can't show Kenichi to people. But it's such a clean, good premise.
Well, so when I was going with the Kaido the right answer, how many series have you seen where the ending was so bad that it gave the rest of the anime a bad name, and or gave anime in general a bad name for being like animes have bad writing type thing?
So for a while, like, so I'm not gonna say Naruto, even though it like stumbled a bit, didn't quite get there. It's like Tokyo Ghoul's anime ruined itself terribly, but its manga didn't. Death Note, 2nd season sucked. Like, if you just watched till L died, it was great.
Right.
I'm just trying to think of things that... let's see. I hated the skip on Attack on Titan, but a lot of people loved it, so I could just be wrong about that.
Could be. I mean, like I say, Kaido the right answer is like the number one pick, where it's like the ending was so bad that I can see why someone would say that anime has bad writing, and it just gives anime in general a bad name for how badly it ended.
Because like a lot of the time, it's like they didn't follow the manga, which feels like cheating.
Right. Because the original ending to Full Metal Alchemist was World War II Germany, which just made no sense.
And then Naruto, Inuyasha, anime is like, oh, we're just done. And then they came back and did their final season later. GT's terrible, but like no one blames Dragon Ball for that.
No, people don't blame Dragon Ball for GT being bad.
I'm trying to really think, because my brain might have just like repressed some of these. Like, let's take Sidcraft, for example, where they're like blitzing through the ending, like, okay, Sidcraft just got the wrap up. Where I'm like, okay, you're fine. But, I'm like...
It was that chapter where they decided not to have a mystery. I think that was the turning point where the editors were like, yeah, no, this is done.
Right. So Fairy Tail was very mid-ended. So he just punched, like, he has a great ending with Seraph and then a terrible ending with Agnologia that didn't really go anywhere or do anything. However, Fairy Tail didn't Boruto. It 100-Year Quest, where it's just still going and it's just more Fairy Tail. So it's like, you botched the ending, so you went to an island with 5 bigger, meaner dragons to actually build this up and end it better and try again. I'm like, oh, you're just going to actually try again, because... Claymore. That took a while to remember. Claymore. Where they're like, actually, it's an island that's a breeding ground and there's a world we don't want to... Ugh. Claymore.
Yeah, that definitely falls into this category, where like it's a super interesting conceptual idea, but then they just... that was a very disappointing way for the story to go, because it just wasn't really foreshadowed in any way, and it's so bland and generic and just seems like bad writing.
Siren's weird, because Siren's original premise was bad and he pivoted to a much better premise. Because it was like... It was weird, because like you put in this code and there's points and it's a game because we're trying to do a Gantz. And like, actually, this is just better with like you're jumping between 2 timelines of psychic people. And the idea is that you're trying to change the future by jumping between these 2 fixed points, so the kids you save end up... Like, it's like that guy... Siren's weird. If you start it later into the series, it's better. Because because
Yeah, the weird part about the telephone with the phone card, that at the start, like they just kind of completely abandoned that.
it was bad. So like it's weird because like we're gonna set up like a game and then they just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to only see like that first portion of it, I could definitely see how that would be an anime with an interesting concept that gives anime a bad name because it's so generic and boring.
Hmm. Future Diary, on the other hand, like I don't know. I think it nailed it somehow.
Future Diary was definitely a worthwhile series for
The thing
sure.
is, like, I know read more crap, but I think I just didn't retain it.
That makes sense. It's not going to be important to you because it was crap. But yeah, no, the TLDR, um, I I can see why the honor at the Magic Academy got greenlit, and I imagine it's been greenlit for a second season. They had a little like, this is what will happen on the second season, uh, but oh man, don't support it.
So, like, just try to like think on tropes to like go back to like the original topic. Like, so I deeply hate the accidental pervert trope. It'll any series that does it, where the main protagonist trips and falls and rips their clothes off by accident,
Mm,
it's just bad. Anything that does that, where it's fan service disguised as slapstick specifically,
mm.
ruins the show. I cannot show it to people. Fire Force, Soul Eater, High School DxD, what was it? High School of the Dead. Like that is, it's the worst because it's like God is sexually harassing and using the character as an excuse, but it's always an accident, so it's not their fault. Is the worst. Worst trope. I think it's a worse trope than an actual pervert, because then like you can have a character get like beat up for that.
Mm.
Uh, the second trope I absolutely hate is when they have the girl in your three-person squad and she just sucks. The Sakura, the Nobara, the
Mm.
I'm sure Odehime, where it's like, oh, we added a female character to be kidnapped specifically, or to not be interested in the protagonist, but be interested in the dual antagonist, so the protagonist has to win them over. It's just bad. It's a bad thing that keeps happening. And every manga would be better if it could pass the Bechdel test. Like, Ochako in My Hero just doesn't get a character arc. Despite having a very interesting power, honestly. The fact she didn't walk around with a giant sledgehammer that she negated the weight for and hit people with a giant sledgehammer, such a missed opportunity.
Mm.
Like, Rukia was the dual antagonist of Bleach. And didn't, like, get any... Although, Bleach is weird with his screen time, where they're like, we're not going to give it to any of the characters we built up, and we're just going to give every captain and a wrong... Bleach got pretty bad for that by the end, of just like, yeah, we're just giving screen time to characters you do not know or care about at all. Here's your 26-lettered villains.
Yeah, that was definitely.
So I think that goes on my list of tropes is introduce... As I've said before, I don't like when people introduce characters past the halfway point of a series.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a trope I hate too, is the mid-season 10 new numbered villains dropped.
that does seem to be like you mentioned Tokyo Ghoul. You said that the manga didn't screw itself over.
It did, but not as much. Like, the anime was unwatchably bad.
The mid-season character dump. I couldn't get through. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah,
in the manga. Like
it kills a lot of things. It's part of what ruined Attack on Titan for me too.
They do the time skip and then had a mid-season character dump.
Yeah, Shippuden dodged it. They wisely only added in a singular. So after Shippuden started, they added in like characters in the single digits. Like they added in Sai and Tree Guy, but waited a while. Like they staggered their mid-season character dumps. When Shippuden happened, they added in like 2 characters a plot arc, and that was it. It got unreasonable by like the Ninja War where they did their other dump, but they basically established everybody.
Yeah, the Ninja War is actually pretty tough to read too because of the character dump.
Like I mean, Naruto at least like
it, but
they managed to foreshadow most of the characters. They dodged a lot of it because they're like, we've introduced before that happened, because they had like a UN meeting and stuff. Like, all right, at least we know who's in the Sand Village. We know who's in the Lightning Village. We have a decent idea who's in the Mist Village from Like, we had a decent idea who most of the people were by that point.
Right.
Where Fairy Tail, after its time skip, are like, let's just add in 5 guilds and have the guild tournament.
Right.
So, yeah, the mid-season character dump is a trope I despise. I also despise the abusive girl where they're like, oh yeah, she just punches the protagonist aggressively forever. And I'm like, okay, that's not better. Because you're still not passing the Bechdel test. I give a pass to the psycho person from Future Diary because the plot revolved around her being unstable like that.
Right, right.
However, I think we're going to move into our random topic and wrap things up.
Oh, no, I don't have a random question for you today. I thought I might, but if I did, I forgot it. The moment has passed.
Casually tragic. I'm not going to say deeply. So, here's the question. Would the One Ring corrupt Deadpool?
Would the One Ring corrupt Deadpool?
I don't think it would. I think he'd be fine. I think it'd corrupt one of the Deadpools. Like, he's pre-Smeagoled. Like, here's my theory of how this goes. He would put on the ring, not because it willed him to do it to make the race come, but so he could fight the race specifically in a sword fight. Like, he turned it on and flipped off Sauron to fight Sauron specifically. I think he's corrupting the ring.
I think the ring isn't going to corrupt him physically, but I think the ring would corrupt him mentally.
I think he would corrupt the ring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is a fourth wall breaking, wisecracking mercenary, so it is possible that with his meta knowledge, he would just be able to corrupt the ring itself.
Interesting. But with that, I think that's it for our episode this week. We maybe talked about our topic a little bit. And I'm going to leave with this parting wisdom. If you're writing a story, don't explode clothes. Don't do it. You don't have to. You could just write an entire series where everyone stays appropriately clothed the entire time. You're allowed to do that. You have my permission. And the only time it's acceptable is when it's like Raccoon or Nappa, where it's just a big, beefy guy whose clothes explode Zangief style. I'll let you have that one. If you must explode a character's clothing, make it a character who would feel empowered and comfortable by it. And also, age up all of your characters to college.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, that's one of the other things that makes the honor at the high school very uncomfortable. Is that at the beginning of the series, they very clearly state that she's 13.
And to finish it up, anime's protagonist of the year was Jin Woo, not Kafka, not him, not Frieren, not Mao Mao, not Momo, not Okarun. It was Sung Jin Woo, the best written character of the year. Bye.
Bye.